Litshona njani mthokazi omuhle Zimbabwe omuhle khwazi muri eZimbabwe mthokazi omuhle eZimbabwe omuhle welcome wonke umuntu ongenayo kuhlelo siyakwamukela kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo thina umgamshaya emchongo chethu chebechidiki chirongwa live talk the connection muyineni Michael Hove muri eZimbabwe. If you're tuning in right now, welcome. You tuned into Live Talk The Connection, Studio 7's very own youth program that targets tackling anything and everything youth related. We're coming to you from my apartment in Washington, D.C., Muri Zimbabwe. Today is Tuesday, February 22, 2022. I'm your host, Mike Hove. Muri Zimbabwe, welcome. Once again, muri Zimbabwe, everybody tuning in right now, welcome to The Connection, Studio 7's very own youth program that targets tackling anything and everything youth related. We're coming to you from my apartment in Washington, D.C. And tonight on The Connection, we're going to be speaking to Zimbabwean youth about the National Youth Day. Now, this is a day that's commemorated annually on the 21st of February. This year, it was Monday. We're going to be delving deeper on the theme of this year's commemorations, which is alleviate substance and drug abuse by the youth. Now, we're going to be figuring out what exactly is leading to the rise of drug abuse amongst Zimbabwean youth. Now, unfortunately, Muri Zimbabwe, tonight's program, as usual, is a pre-recorded broadcast. What does this mean for you, our loyal listeners? Unfortunately, you're not able to tune in live as per usual. However, as you're consuming the program, you can still give us your feedback, and we're going to be seeing your feedback. So write your comments in the comment section on our Facebook page, that being VOA Ndebele, VOA Studio 7, Danielagu, VOA Shona, Muri Zimbabwe. That's where we're broadcasting as we speak. So Balana my comments, Nyora my comments, write your comments in the comment section on our 3 Facebook pages, that being VOA Studio 7, VOA Shona, and of course VOA Ndebele. For our YouTube fanatics, we're also broadcasting on YouTube as we speak. Our official page is at VOA Zimbabwe, at VOA Zimbabwe. For those that like watching the program on our web pages, we're broadcasting on our 3 web pages as we speak, that being www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and of course, www.voandebele.com. So for everybody watching, don't forget to press the share button on Facebook and on YouTube so that we watch the program in our numbers. Don't forget also to press the hot button Panopa Studio 7 asisonke like so khonapha kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo. So lingakhohlwa izilokandaba, bhalana ama comments, fitizela lapha ubhala ukuthi like, fitizela njalo uheart ukuze sibone ukuthi hayi ngempela sisonke kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo thirithose panopa nephinyire Studio 7. Now, as usual, we like to kickstart our conversation with an update on COVID-19. Now, unfortunately, by the time we had to start this recording, the Ministry of Health and Childcare had not released the latest COVID-19 statistics. However, as usual, let us head over to an educational material piece that was produced by the Ministry of Health and Childcare that talks more about COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccine.
Hello there. I'm here to give you the latest information and advice from the Ministry of Health and Childcare on COVID-19. Due to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases, the Ministry of Health and Childcare Zimbabwe encourages members of the public to get vaccinated against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines have been approved and are being rolled out for use in Zimbabwe today. These vaccines have met strict standards of safety, quality, and effectiveness set out by the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe. It is a legal requirement that all vaccines and medicines used in our health facilities undergo rigorous testing, including all recommended clinical trials before they are approved for use. Currently, Zimbabwe is using Sinopharm and Sinovac, both from China, as well as Covaxin from India. The Ministry of Health and Childcare also recently approved the use of Sputnik V from Russia. The COVID-19 vaccines are being provided for free to all those who are eligible and want to protect themselves. Here are some advantages to being vaccinated. Getting vaccinated will help keep you from getting COVID-19. The vaccines currently available in Zimbabwe have been highly effective at preventing the disease. As an additional benefit, based on what we know about vaccines from other diseases and early data from clinical trials, experts believe that getting vaccinated may also keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you get COVID-19. And if that's not enough, getting vaccinated yourself may also protect people around you, particularly those at increased risk of severe illness, like the elderly or the immunocompromised. That's those that have an impaired immune system. COVID-19 vaccination is a safer way to help build protection. Getting COVID-19 may offer some natural protection known as immunity, but gaining immunity this way can have serious life-threatening complications. There is no way to know how COVID-19 will affect you, and if you get sick, you could end up spreading the disease to your family, to your friends, and to those around you. So vaccination is an alternative way to gain immunity by creating antibody responses without having to experience sickness.
Muri Zimbabwe mabva kunzwa mashoko akaparwa nebazi rinoona nezveutano Ministry of Health and Child Care vachikurudzira vagari vemuZimbabweans aiwa budai neuwandu hwenyu mutinobaiwa nhomba yakanangana nekudzivirira kupararira kwedenda reCovid-19. Imi mati mabaiwa here muri yeZimbabwe? Nyaya iyi muri kuiona sei? Tipeiwo maonero enyu nezvenhomba nezvezvirongwa zvirimo munyika zvakanangana nekudzivirira kupararira kwedenda reCovid-19. Nyorai maonero enyu pamapeji edu matatu tiripo paFacebook paVOA Shona, VOA Ndebele Daniela kuVOA Studio 7. Kune wese ari pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki tinotenda zvikurusa nekupinda muchirongwa makateerera chirongwa chedu chevechidiki wohlelo The Connection muineni Michael.
Kudarika ezai kusaungana ezai kusaenda paruzinji nekuti COVID-19 chirwere chiriko. Garai muchisanitiza, gara unekako kasanitiza nekuti kaneuraya virus. Chinza masymptoms evirus, kukosora isymptom, kupisa muviri isymptom, kutadza kupema zvakanaka hapana chakanaka pa masymptoms. Kana uchida rubatsiro fona pa2019, rubatsiro runouya pauri asingati zvichengetedze hama.
Shout out there to Mr. T Darira Swa Inindi Darira Just Signal. They're partnering up with Roots Africa for that amazing COVID-19 message. Uyasho ngempela Just Signal uthi gezani izandla lingaminyani izulukandaba nokuthi ngenxa yokuthi liqiniso lokuthi iCovid-19 likhona, igciwane leli liyabulala. Muri eZimbabwe muri kunzwa ka mashako ari kuparurwa na T Darira Swa Just Signal hanze aiwa budai neuwandu hwenyu muchinobaiwa nhomba ari kukurudzira zvekare hanzi gezai maoko musaungane neuwandu hwenyu nekuti COVID-19 chirwere chiripo. Shout out there to Mr. T Darira Swa for that message. To watch the full message, head over to Roots Africa's Facebook page. That's where the full message is available muri Zimbabwe. But now, let's delve into tonight's discussion. Chirongwa chedu chevechidiki nyaya yachikuzeya pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki nhasi muchirongwa tikutarisa zuva reNational Youth Day rinorangarirwa musi wa21 February every year muzulukandaba. Namhlanje kuhlelo sikhangela udaba losuku lweNational Youth Day olujonge ukuthakazelela imisebenzi yabasakhulayo, ukuthakazelela ukuthuthukiswa kwabantu abasakhulayo elizweni. To delve into tonight's discussion with Zimbabwe, we're going to be focusing on National Youth Day. Now, Monday, February 21st, which was yesterday, officially marked National Youth Day. Now, this is a day set aside to celebrate the works and, of course, commemorate the strides that have been made in Zimbabwe towards empowering the youth of the nation. Now, this year's commemorations are going to be focused around a pandemic which was made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic, a pandemic which is rising by the day in Zimbabwe. This year's commemorations focus on the increase of drug abuse amongst Zimbabwean youth. Now, to hear more, I am joined by the director of the Zimbabwe Youth Council. He's the acting director, Mr. Brian Nyagwande, who talks to me about the increase of the drug abuse in Zimbabwe and why, what has led to the increase amongst Zimbabwean youth, and most importantly, the power of empowerment towards alleviating drug abuse in Zimbabwe. So, Muri Zimbabwe, let us head over to the conversation I had with Mr. Nyagwande via Skype.
In 2017, this current government, which is the new dispensation, through an SI 143, converted what was formerly known as the 21st Movement, which is the day that marks the birth and anniversary of Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the late and former president of Zimbabwe. His role in the founding of Zimbabwe as an independent nation, and his passion for empowering young people, and turned this day into a holiday, mainly to empower young people and to cherish their achievements. So the Youth Day shows the aspirations by government as such for its young people who remain the vanguard of this nation. And we find ourselves commemorating this day and giving young people an opportunity to reflect and think about what they are contributing to their communities and country at large. So this day is celebrated to encourage the work of young people and the hard work they've contributed in overall development of the country.
Right. So now let's, I guess, delve into the theme of the day itself. I see this year it focuses more on substance abuse, alleviate substance and drug abuse by the youth. Could you tell us a little more about that theme and why this year's commemorations are so relevant or focused on drug abuse?
So we are focusing on the youth because, like I say, they are the future of Zimbabwe, and they make the bulk of the population, which is about 67.7%. And if not invested in, we risk missing out on the window of opportunity. So young people are faced with a morbid of reality of substance abuse, hence the need to congregate efforts on identification, awareness and prevention programs, as well as monitoring of adolescent and youth health data. So substance abuse is robbing Zimbabwe of its future, and we need to stand together to help our fellow brothers and sisters or children to fight this menace. So substance and drug abuse is a major impact on an individual's families, your communities, and its effects are cumulative, contributing to costly social, physical, and mental health problems. And above all, the cycle is said to note that these cease to perform as effective members of society as they are consumed by the addictions, hence the need for us to buttress efforts on early identification, awareness, prevention programs, as well as monitoring of adolescent and youth health data.
So now when we focus on substance abuse, I've seen that a lot of researchers and a lot of health experts have highlighted, like you just said, that Zimbabwean youth, there seems to be a spike in terms of the amount of young people that are consuming drugs in Zimbabwe. In your opinion, what do you think has led to this increase?
Indeed, drug and substance abuse has become, I would say, a cousin to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you find in Zimbabwe marijuana, mbanje, commonly known as mbanje in Zimbabwe, things such as crystal methamphetamine, cocaine, and the very common one, which is cocodine, which is found commonly in bronchia, which is coffee syrup. This has really become a menace. And if I can delve into a bit of official reports given by the World Health Organization on mental health for young people, and it highlights that Zimbabwe is the highest in Africa in terms of young people from the ages of 19-year-olds who engage in what is known as episodic drinking. So you will see already that puts us in a very predicament situation, and young people are faced with a lot of challenges. So these unhealthy behaviors are obviously on the increase due to unemployment, poor health, mental issues to do with illness, depression and anxiety, and socioeconomic status, quality of parenting, peer group pressure, performance and improvement, as well as biological predisposition towards drug and substance abuse. So these are the challenges that we are facing as a nation, and they are indeed on the increase, and something has to be done by our Zimbabwean government.
You highlighted something very important there, that there's a high unemployment rate in the country. And so considering that in mind, where are they getting money to buy the cocaine, to buy the crystal meth? How is this coming about?
I'd like to point it out that drug and substance abuse, first and foremost, it's more like a circle. It's got, like I alluded to, mental and physical health disturbances. It's also in the short and long term. And you find that young people have become the most demography that is involved in crime in terms of wanting to fund the illicit drugs that they are resorting to. Some have even resorted to cases of prostitution just to get the drugs. I think statistics coming out from police records where parents report house thefts, some of the major suspects have become the young people. They are stealing from their parents' household goods just to fund those drugs. So yes, that is one way they are doing that. And some have even resorted to things that are abhorrent, and if you hear them, those that cannot afford have resorted to getting to the extent of boiling baby diapers just to get the intoxication that comes out of doing such things, because they cannot afford. So it's a host of things. Some have become criminal agents, and some have resorted, those that cannot afford have come to resorting to such things as I've mentioned here.
Now, before we delve into, of course, what government is doing, I would like to hear your thoughts on how such a circumstance can be addressed.
Thank you very much for that question. And to say that the government of Zimbabwe is doing quite a lot, and I think this is also seen by ourselves as Zimbabwean Youth Council, which is a quasi-government institution, to come up with a theme like this for this day, to show that there is a lot that government is doing. So I would like to mention that essentially government has put effective interventions and delivered platform on enhancing social skills, problem solving, and self-confidence for the young people. And we feel that we can address this through a collaborative effort. This is not an issue that is left out to one government department or government institution. It requires concerted effort, and to that And I wish to highlight that there is an interministerial task force that has been put in place, which is made up of different stakeholders, government agents, civic society, churches, and this task force is made up of 5 pillars, which they feel they can address the issue of drug and substance abuse. And to mention some of the pillars include the supply side, which is obviously made by the police force who are trying to block the provision of drugs. It's also made up of the demand side, which is ourselves, the Ministry of Youth and the agents that surround us in trying to campaign against drug and substance abuse. And you also find that there's the treatment side when the Ministry of Health and Childcare comes into on board, and also the rehabilitation aspect of it. So as you can see, there's a lot that government is doing, but also to say that there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of research and other economic factors that increase drug and substance, so that we have a concerted efforts in terms of addressing this, which is research-based. So government has already done a lot of strides in terms of addressing that. But I also feel that there's need to strengthen capacity for aftercare and for issues that I've mentioned for rehabilitation and recovery of social integration of those that would have been affected by drugs. And to also encourage drug and substance abusers to get treatment, because it's one thing to fall in the trap, and as a government, we should ensure that people recover. So there's the aspect of rehabilitation is very important.
And as a society, what do you think Zimbabweans can do to support people that are in that predicament?
There's a lot. The president, like I've said, is appointed an interministerial team. So I think government has to create a lot of programs for the young people just to engage them. A lot of peer-to-peer programs that help the young people to get engaged. I'll say, for instance, the Ministry of Youth itself has come up with what they're calling youth interact centers. These are sites where young people can converge, and instead of them winding down, resorting to drugs, these are centers they can access where they can then meet other foes and be able to change ideas and stay away from drugs. So we as Zimbabwe Youth Council are also playing a part as we register youth associations, and we are taking the greater drive in terms of advocating for young people to get assistance and be educated on the effects of drug and substance abuse.
All right, vanyagwande tinotenda zvikuru nekupinda muchirongwa chedu. Totanga kana nezvekukosha kwezuva reNational Youth Day. Ndandikumbuka kuti muchudzawo zvizere.
Maita basa. Saka zuva redu reNational Youth Day izuva ratinorangarira vechidiki vedu vemuZimbabwe. Kana tichiti vechidiki tinotitaurisa avo vane makore 15 nemakore anosvikayo 35, which is ndingati pachirungu 15 to 35 age group. But pazuva iri hurumende yedu yakaona zvakakosha kuti vechidiki vange vachiremekedzwa ukosho hwavo. Isusu tinoti vechidiki ndivo vakabata nyika yedu yamangwana, saka tinofanira kukoshesa zvavari kuita muhwandu hwavo, vanova ndivo vakawanda semhuri yeZimbabwe, kuti tichikoshesa uwandu hwavo zvavari kuita muikonomi yedu yeZimbabwe, kuti Zimbabwe igobudirira igoremekedzwawo nedzimwe nyika. Vechidiki ndivo vakabata. Saka zuva iri izuva guru kwazvo kwavari.
Tinoona kuti gore rino zuva iri muri kurirangarira pasi pedingira rinoti alleviate substance and drug abuse by the youth. Tichitarisa nyaya yekuti vechidiki vakawanda vari kutora zvinodhaka. Ndandichikumbira kuti muchiudzawo zvizere nezvenyaya izvi zviri kuita kuti mukoshese nyaya dzekutorwa kwezvinodhaka nevechidiki munyika gore rino.
Ndingade kutanga kutaura ndichiti munguva yakapinda iyi yatakatarisana nedenda reCovid-19, tinoona kuti vechidiki kunyanya nekuti zvikoro zvakavharwa, dzimwe nguva vabereki vasingaendi kubasa, vamwewo vanga vati kurei vanga vachienda macolleges anga akavharwa nemayunivhesiti. Tinoona zvikuru kuti dambudziko guru ratasangana naro nderekuti vechidiki vanga vakushaya zvekuita zvinosakisira kuti vanga vakushandisa zvinodhaka. Saka naizvozvo dingindira redu nderekuti vana vechidiki vakakosha chaizvo, hatingavasiye vachiparara kune zvinodhaka mupfungwa nezvinodhaka miviri yavo. Saka taona zvakakosha kuti nyangwe tine zvirongwa zvekuvavandatsira, tinogona kuvasimbisa isu tiri kutosangana nedenda rinogona kupfudza upenyu hwavo. Saka taona zvakakosha kuti tirangarire zuva iri tichiedza kuyeuchidza vechidiki kuti vasashandise zvinodhaka mumiviri yavo.
Chii chiri kukonzera kuti vechidiki vatange kushandisa zvinodhaka? Hongu mabata nyaya yeCovid-19, asi hatingati iCovid-19 chete iri kuita kuti vatore zvinodhaka.
Tinoona kuti zvakawanda zvinosakisa kuti vechidiki vange vachitora zvinodhaka. Mukafamba mumasiritsi edu eHarare munogona kusangana nevaya vatinoti vana vasina kwekugara, vatinoti ma-street kids, vachingoita kunga vasina zvavari kuona, kuri kudhaka kwezvi. Saka zvinosakisa kuti vechidiki vatore zvinodhaka zvakawanda. Zvinosakisa ivo kushaya mabasa, urombo chaihwo, kushaya chinovaita kuti vange vachivaraidzika pachero nguva, nezvimwewo zvinoita kuti even mhirizhonga mudzimba chaidzo dzekuti baba namai vanenge vachinetsana, zvinogona kusakisa kuti vana vatsvage chinoita kuti chivadhake, chinoita kuti vasafunge zvinhu zvakadaro. So zvinodhaka vechidiki zvinhu zvakati wandei.
Tichipedza hedu hurukuro yedu, ndozangu kuti vateereri vanoda kuziva kuti hurumende yedu inotungamirwa naVamunangagwa pane zvavari kuita here mukugadzirisa nyaya iyi, nekuti sezvamambotaura pane vechidiki vakati wandei vavepo munyika vari kutora zvinodhaka. Saka zvii zviri kuitwa nehurumende mukugadzirisa matambudziko aka?
Ndade kutanga ndichitenda chaizvo kuti hurumende yedu iri kuita zvakati wandei. Chekutanga, isu veZimbabwe Youth Council munoona kuti mubumbiro remutemo rakagadzira Zimbabwe Youth Council, handingati Zimbabwe Youth Council Act, inotibvumidza isusu kuti tinge tichikoshesa mazuva akaita sezuva reYouth Day ratati isusu dingindira redu rinenge riri rekuti vechidiki vasashandise zvinodhaka. Saka chekutanga icho ndechekuti hurumende yedu yes inoyeuchidza kukosha kwakaita vechidiki. Yayeuchidza kukosha kwakaita vechidiki. Hurumende yedu iri kuziva kuti vechidiki vari kusangana nemachallenges akawanda anosanganisira iwo kuti vange vachishandisa zvinodhaka kuti varerutse nguva. So naizvozvo hurumende yaona kuti denda iri ratekeshera nenyika ende rinogona kupfudza kuti vechidiki vatadze kuwanawo pavanocontributa kuikonomi yedu yenyika. Hurumende yedu kuburikidza nemutungamiri wedu wenyika Vamunangagwa wakafoma bumbiro rema-departments akasiyana siyana, vemachechi, ivo vehurumende, ma-non-governmental organization, aningati mabato aya anobatsira muzvekurongwa kwenyika, kuti vaungane vaise musoro pamwe vaone kuti denda iri ringapedzwe sei. Saka bumbiro iri rakaunganidzwa rine zvakawanda zvari kuita. Chikurusa chavari kuita, vari kutsvagiridza ongororo yekuda kunyatsa kuona kuti zviri kumbotangira papi, vanounza madrugs acho vari kubva nawo kupi, uye vanoawana vari kuawanira kupi. Saka vadaro vari kuda kuedza kuti vedu vanotibatsira nezvemutemo, mapurisa edu angamise sei, vachizoonawo futi kuti zvadaro tingavandudzire sei zvirongwa zvekuti vechidiki vazive kuti kushandisa zvinodhaka kunovakuwadza. So bumbiro iri riri kuita zvakawanda chaizvo zvinosanganisira kuti kutaura chete kune vechidiki kuti kunwa zvinodhaka hazvina kukwana. Saka hurumende iri kuuya nemaprograms anoita kuti vechidiki vange vachiti kana tati isusu vasashandise zvinodhaka vakwanisewo kunga vaine atinoti ma-empowerment activities anozoita kuti vange vachiti kana varegedza kushandisa zvinodhaka vanogona kuwana zvinovabatsira. Saka mukatarisa Ministry of Youth yakatekeshera neatinoti isusu ma-vocational training center anodzidzisa vana zvemubato wemaoko. Saka kuma-centers uku munoona kuti vazhinji vanoshandisa zvinodhaka vanowanzoti zvinowanzo kuwanda paya panenge pabuda ma-results eform 4 ekuti mwana akaona kuti iye akundikana kuenda ku-A level kana kuti abuda neatinoti ma-O level results asingasvike 5 vanonga vakuchigara nevamwe wavo vachiti isusu hatina chatinogona saka chedu chasara apa kushandisa zvinodhaka. Saka tiri kuti Ministry of Youth ine ma-colleges anoita kuti vana vakaita saivavo nyange vasina kusvitsa ma-O levels akakwana kudaro vange vachienda kunodzidziswa zvemubato wemaoko zvinosanganisira kuwaka, kuveza, kusona, zvinoita kuti vana ava vange vachiwana chinoita kuti vange vachibatsirikana uye kuti vasashandise zvinodhaka. Saka hurumende yedu iri kuita zvakawanda. Mukatarisawo zvakare hurumende through Department reMinistry of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation tiri kuti izvo hurumende yakutangisa zvakare kuti maclubs aya ma-sporting clubs anga aregedzwa nekuti anga asakara kuti vavandutsire ange ave kushanda kuitira kuti vechidiki vawane kwekuti vanowana kwekutambira masports. Zvakarewo kuburikidza nebazi ravo rezvemutambo netsika vari kuti vana vanoda kuita zvemutambo netsika ngavauye vadzidzire uye vasaswere vachigara pamabridge vachitora zvinodhaka. Saka munoona kuti hurumende yedu iri kuita zvakawanda zvekubatsira. Tapedza izvozvo vari kuti vaya vanenge vawira mudambudziko rekuwana madrugs nezvinodhaka ngazvipereri ipapo. Kwagadzirwa nzvimbo dzinoita kuti vanobatsirikane, vanorapwe uye kuti vadzoke paunaku hwavo hwekuti vange vachishandira nyika yavo vasina kudhakwa. So zvakawanda zviri kuitwa nehurumende yedu kuburikidza napresident wedu waMnangagwa.
Wazulukandaba sithanda ukubonga umnumzana uNyagwande ngokungena kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo ubechasisa okuningi ngokuqhakatheka kosuku lolu lwe-National Youth Day olujonge ukuthakazelela imisebenzi yabasakhulayo njalo udaba lokuthuthukiswa kwabasakhulayo elizweni. Lokubona njani Zulukandaba, lubona ngani lokhu kwenzakala na elizweni? Abantu abasakhulayo bayathola na amathuba okuzithuthukisa? Uthinte njalo udaba lokuthi kulumnyaka usuku lolu luthakazelelwa phansi kwendikimba ekhangela udaba lokuthathwa kwezidakamizwa ngabasakhulayo. Ingcwethi zezempilakahle ziyasho ngempela ukuthi hayi umkhuhlane we-COVID-19 usuyenze ukuthi abantu abasakhulayo abaningi ngempela bathatha izidakamizwa ngenxa yokuthi for a very long time izikolo bezivaliwe. For a very long time abantu abasakhulayo babengayenelisi ukusebenza, those that did have imisebenzi. So bayasho ngempela ukuthi hayi lokhu kwayenza ukuthi inani labasakhulayo abaphethwe yi-stress likhuphuke, abantu abasakhulayo abaphethwe yi-stress bafise ukuthatha izidakamizwa. So yikho lokho kushiwo ngumnumzana uBrian Nyagwande owenhlanganiso yeZimbabwe Youth Council. But once Somori Zimbabwe, you're hearing there from Brian Nyagwande of the Zimbabwe Youth Council explaining more about the importance of the National Youth Day in Zimbabwe. Of course, we also touched on the discussion around the rise and the amount of Zimbabwean youths that are taking drugs or that are consuming drugs or abusing drugs. But to hear more about what's happening in the rural areas, I also reached out to Cherry Odzobo of the Platform for Youth and Community Development. So let's hear more from Cherio, who's going to explain to us what exactly is happening in the rural areas. Are the rural youth also affected by the amount of drugs being taken?
Thank you so much, Mgoma Mike. The National Youth Day is very much important, especially to the young people in Zimbabwe, because it is when we talk about their aspirations and their challenges they are facing. These young people are also important and are also at the center of development in our country. Celebrating National Youth Day is that time when we should talk about the challenges the young people are facing and coming up with solutions that can help those young people who are facing challenges, taking instance of drug abuse, those who are, because some of the youths are now addicted to drugs. So when we talk about Youth Day, it's when we should think about how best we can help these young people, especially coming up with activities that can make them occupied, and also when looking at development in our country, what we can do with these young people towards development. In Chipinge, we did a baseline survey where we found out that a lot of young people are now not able to go back to school. They are not, as of now, they do not see the importance of going to school, as they are now more into drug abuse, spending the whole day sitting and doing nothing, prioritizing being drunk.
Bozulukandaba lisanda ukuzwa okushiwo nguCherio Tsobo owenhlanganiso ye-Platform for Youth and Community Development ngale eChipinge. Ubechasisa ngempela umbono wakhe ngalokho okwenzakale izolo lapho uZulu jikelele abantu abasakhulayo jikelele eZimbabwe babethakazelela usuku le-National Youth Day olujonge ukuthakazelela imisebenzi esenziwe elizweni ejonge ukuthuthukisa abatsha kwele Zimbabwe. Likubona njani izulu kanti ababhalana imibono yenu ngalolu daba? Libona ngani abantu abasakhulayo bayathola na amathuba okuzithuthukisa elizweni? But now, Mudia Zimbabwe, before we move over and wrap up our conversation, we're going to be joined by two health experts or two drug abuse experts who are going to be talking more about what exactly is happening with the youth of Zimbabwe. However, before we head over to that conversation, I want to show you a snippet of some clips that were released by the Ministry of Information, whereby they were focusing on what happened today, what happened on Monday, the 21st, on National Youth Day, whereby President Emerson Mnangagwa met with the youth of the nation. So let's head over to a clip of those proceedings, and you're also going to hear from some youth who used to take drugs, who are urging youth to not want to partake or join or walk that path.
Mungu alikuwa kutoa kwa kanisa. Alikuwa kanisa akafunga. Hakutoa masa generation nyingine yatopata because of this class. Darazo ngene kwa kusema South Africa kolokwana. Ndio wanataka kuuliza about 2 3 months ndipo zibariana. Then that's Okakuno, that's all very own organization in Zimbabwe simply that a drug network. Kufundisa vanhu vasatorezvo zvodhakwa tinoita macampaign awareness tinoita support groups saka ndakandikumbirawo.
Well, Maria Zimbabwe, you're hearing there what was happening in Harare during the National Youth Day commemorations. You also heard there from Kudakwashe Madzima, who is a former drug user. Ubechasisa ngempela esithi hayi ngombono wakhe hayi abantu abasakhulayo uthi do not partake in drugs because akusizi lutho. Lokubona njani izulu kandaba abanye bathi hayi abasakhulayo sebethatha idakamizwa ngenxa baphethwe istress udaba lokuthi imisebenzi ayitholakali elizweni udaba lokuthi i-lockdown i-COVID-19 isenze ukuthi eningi labasakhulayo sibona sikhangela ukuthi abasakhulayo bahambe umango omude bahambe isikhathi eside bengahambi ezikolo eningi lilokhe liqhubekela phambili likhala lesithi imisebenzi ayitholakali elizweni. So yikho okwenza ukuthi hayi uZulu jikelele afisa ukuthatha idakamizwa. Now let's head over to a conversation that I had with Mr. Wilson Box of the Zimbabwe Civil Liberties and Drug Network, Sixoxe njalo lo Mthandazo Ndlovu, who is another expert on the discussion that we have at hand. They're going to be focusing more on what exactly is leading to the youth of the nation taking drugs in their large numbers. So let's head over to that conversation that I had with them via telephone.
Ichokadi vakawanda vana vadiki vedu vari kutora zvinodhaka kunyanya drug rinonzi iro crystal meth rinozikanwa nemadunhu kuti izoguka makafela kana kuti mutoriro. Drug iri ranetsa muZimbabwe, especially kune vafana vedu vechidiki. And besides iro drug iri kune mamwewo madrugs ari kutorwa nevana atingatizo ivo kune bron clear which is mushonga wechikosoro asi kune codeine inodhaka. Toitawo madrugs akaita semadiazepam, koita mangemba, mamapirisi aya anenge achitorwa nevana vechidiki muZimbabwe. Tiri kutotya kuti possibly we are losing the generation.
Vabox tinotenda zvikurusa nekuva nesu pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki lawe Mthandazo siyabonga kakhulu. Vabox tichiri panyaya imwe chete ndandichikumbira kuti mutiudze kuti chii chiri kuita kuti vechidiki vaendere mberi vachitora zvinodhaka uyezve vari kuzviwanawo kupi zvinodhakwa izvi?
Vafana vazhinji muchakudzidza yatakaita especially tichitaura nemasupport groups edu because Zimbabwe Civil Liberties and Drug Network tine masupport groups edu muZimbabwe. Chekutanga vanochizvo issue yeidleness, kushaya zvekutoita zvachose zviri kuita kuti vafana vange vachipedzisira vangotorawo zvinodhaka izvozvi. And kwoitawo maissues nyaya dzekuti dzimba dzavari kubva vamwe vacho idzimba dzatingati pachirungu broken homes or broken families. Zviri kuita kuti vafana vange vachitora futi zvinodhaka. And madrugs edu aya munongozivawo maborders edu eZimbabwe they are porous. Maborders hazina kunyatsochengeteka zvakanaka, saka tiri kuona mamwe madrugs achibvaiwo zvakaita senyika dzakaita sana Mozambique uyezve South Africa kunyanya mutoriro watinotiwo crystal meth kana kuti guka makafela. Saka vafana vedu vakuwara vaparara.
All right, well, thank you there for the explanation. Could we kindly in English? I've spoken to other experts who say that there's a direct correlation between the COVID-19 pandemic and, of course, the reported increase in drug usage in Zimbabwe. As an expert, could you kindly tell us more about that?
Yeah, it is very true. There is actually a relationship between the COVID-19 lockdown and also a sudden increase in the use of illicit drugs. We have seen crystal meth, guka makafela or mtoriro in the local language, increasing. That is the usage. So you find out that during that time when, people were actually in their homes, there was a lockdown. Yes, it appeared that there was actually an underground network, which now started supplying this illicit drug to most of our youth in Zimbabwe, to the extent that the effects has been so much very detrimental we've seen young people, dying, out of this drug, and some of them actually having mental health challenges. So it's actually a challenge.
Boxer, thank you so much. Let me hold you there on the line. Let us head over to Umthandazo Ndlovu la simpe ithuba lokuthi asiphe umbono wakhe ambothipo umawundo wakhe nezinyathi nayo nasimjongwa. Mthandazo ngiyakwamukela kuhlelo nantu udabula ukhona egudwini awusitshela umbono wakho ngalokho kwenzakalayo elizweni. Siyeza ukuthi inani labasakhulayo abathatha izidakamizwa lokho liqhubekela phambili likhuphuka. Kuyini okwenzakalayo elizweni nomsana?
Ya kuyinto enkulu esiyethusa labashiyayo lesiziluka indaba yakhona ikhatha kakhulu. Intsha ama-tax okwizinto zabo sibili ngisebefika ngawo ethole ngawo indaba ekhona yena leyo. Ngiyathola ukuthi ukuthatha kwezinto zakhona uthola ukuthi kule-lot of ignorance ekuthatheni izinto zina lezo ngoba nanzelela ukuthi ama-effects ababoni ukuthi into lezi zigcina zenza umuntu wabantu.
Mthandazo engifisa ukuzwisisa mnumzana ukuthi siyezwa iningi labantu abasakhulayo elizweni bekhala besithi elizweni akula misebenzi. There are no jobs dololo imisebenzi elizweni. Kodwa inani labathatha izidakamizwa liyakhuphuka. Could you explain to us how this is possible? Imali yokuthenga izidakamizwa bayayithatha.
Uzathola ukuthi abantu kuthutha imali balazo kuleli lizwe leli ngendlela abathatha ngayo izidakamizwa because all these drugs are expensive sibili but uyathola sibili ezitshayela izinto zona lezo. When you ask yourself where are they getting the money? But uzathola ukuthi abantwana laba into eziningi bayatshontsha izinto endlini bethengisa izinto ezisendlini. So uyathola into ingasela lutho kodwa ungakwazi ukuthi into zakho nezihambisana. Those are part of some of the things sesingasothi bayatshontsha ezindlini bethengisa so that they buy their own drugs.
Hayi Mthandazo siwuzwile wathi ngikubamba umlomo bafo. Let's head back to umnumzana Mr. Box so that we hear his thoughts. Mr. Box, Ndanchi Butoro now Mthandazo were focusing on the discussion around unemployment in Zimbabwe. And one thing we're really curious about is that there seems to be a correlation. There's unemployment on one side, however, there's a drug usage on the other side. Where exactly are the youth of the nation? We keep hearing of these reported youths that are taking drugs. Where are they getting the money to purchase these drugs? Especially seeing as though there's a large percentage of youth who are claiming that they're unemployed. So where exactly are they getting the money? I mean, we're talking about cocaine, crystal meth. These are expensive drugs. So kindly walk us through that. Where are they getting the money?
So thank you so much for such a question. The issue of cocaine is not just found anywhere, anyhow. In Zimbabwe, what you've got to understand is that cocaine is normally found in the low affluent suburbs, whereby we've got the youth, we've got parents, we've got the money, so they can afford that. And then in the lower rung of the society, that is where we stay in the ghettos, there is a cocktail of new psychoactive substances. That is where you find drugs like crystal meth coming into play. So cocaine, you actually find it in the lower density suburbs. And then crystal meth, Torino, Guka, Makafela, you actually find it in areas like Mbare, Highfield, Mpakos, and Zivarasekwa, where it's actually sold cheaply. So now when you actually try to find out where are these young people getting the money to get cocaine, just bear in mind that cocaine, you actually find it in the lower density suburbs and also where the parents are affluent. And then in the lower ranks of our society, that's where you find things like crystal meth. You also find things like marijuana. You find things like diazepam, That's how the situation is according to our studies and also according to the experiences in our support groups.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Box. Let me hold you there on the line. Now, Mure Zimbabwe, you're hearing there from Mthandazo Ndlovu, Mr. Box. Both of them are health experts in kwezempilakahle. Ikakhulukazi nxa sesikhangela udaba lokuthathwa izidakamizwa ngiyathukuzeya yokuthorwa ukweshu nodaka nebechidiki munyika thukunzwa nyanji imyatso utano vari kuti aiwa nhamba yevechidiki vari kutora zvinodhaka iri kuendera mberi ichikwira munyika. Nhasi ndiyo nyaya yatiri kuzeya tichitarisa zvekare zuva reNational Youth Day iro rinocherechedzwa makore ose on 21 February. So whilst I have these two gentlemen on the line, Umthandazo, Mr. Box, I want us to head over to a report that was recently produced by Associated Press, which focuses on the increase or the rise in drug usage amongst Zimbabwean youth. When we come back, and we speak to our health experts who are going to be telling us more. But I'd like to head over to this Associated Press report first, and then when we come back, we get their feedback. Let's head over to that report.
Say closed doors do not mean nothing, but it is just a matter of interpretation.
Pakangoita give up iwo pachezo da mwana lutakungotarisana benzi ndani chi ndani rake ani benzi ndani chi ndani rake saka ndopa zvakazosvikira ipapo saka ipapo ndopa ndakazobva zvangu zogumirawo ipapo.
We don't get that help on our relatives, especially at the moment we are. It's really sad, and at times you just feel like, what can I really do to help these people? At times we get 4 to 5 calls per day of people who would like their relatives to be rehabilitated here, yet we have a capacity of only 17 people at a time. Our rehabilitation takes 6 to 18 months when someone is admitted at our center. So there is a backlog of people, a long list of people who are willing to have their relatives admitted here so that they can be rehabilitated.
Which was the first up to fourth quarter. Let's take, for example, the 2020 statistics. If we look at only people who came through our hospital getting services because they had problems of drug abuse problems, I can safely tell you that there were 825 in numbers. That means that is a very big number. In comparison to the previous year, the 2019, which we had 150.
Muri Zimbabwe, that was a report produced by Associated Press focusing on the rise or the increase in drug usage amongst Zimbabwean youth. Ndiyo nyaya tinayo nhasi muchirongwa muri yeZimbabwe. Pano pachirongwa izvezvi tiri kumbokurukurawo nenyanzvi nyaya dzeutano. We're joined by, we are on the line, we have Mthandazo Ndlovu and Mr. Wilson Boxer. Both of them are experts in terms of the discussion focusing on drug usage in Zimbabwe. Mthandazo, ngibuye before to come over to you. Now, the report, you heard it there, Associated Press is saying that there seems to be a whole discussion amongst in Zimbabwe when we're talking about rehabilitation of all these people who have been taking drugs. Talk to us a little more about rehabilitation centers in Zimbabwe.
Currently, with the rehabilitation facilities, what is there? They're using the Mental Health Act. Mm-hmm. And so that becomes a danger to any person who's going through that process. Because the issue of rehabilitation is remove the stuff that the person has in the body. Do not put any other substance on the body. Mm-hmm. And so for you to do that, you actually need what we call the drug bomb supplement.
Then you also need to put the person through a sauna, whereby the person is then heated and the stuff comes out of the person. So you do not just give any drug to a drug addict. No, you can't. The person really has to see a rehab specialist. And unfortunately, I'm the only rehab specialist that is there currently. And my call is, let us send more people so that we do the right thing. Because what's happening is people are then sent on the other side because the person wants to have a mental problem, but he has got drug psychosis, you see. And then you take that on and say, no, it's now a mental patient. Then then something then creeps with arms such a mental patient all along the way. Whereas if it was somebody, no, these are drugs. Because we've got persons that are even taken in Torino. People are saying Torino cannot be taken. I've heard about 10 cases which I've dealt with, and the people are coming out safe. The issue of not sleeping and what it actually slides up or to give the person a drug bomb and then put them through a sauna. And currently it isn't cheaper because we are just getting the supplements at that much and trying to give the people at a low price so that they actually have the person processed. Because we're crying out to the government that the government has to put rehab centers in every area of Zimbabwe so that something can be done on these kids that have got drug issues. I think 2019 I highlighted that there are some of these bills that are not being used into rehab centers. We do day calls, people call there, and then there's a rehab specialist that speaks to them and helps them come off the drugs. Because the issue is those things have to come out of the person.
Mr. Box, now to head over to you, sir. Earlier on, Pachirongwa Nabo Kurukuro, I was speaking to a representative of the Zimbabwe Youth Council, and he mentioned something really important, which really struck a chord with me. He spoke about how there are some young girls in Zimbabwe who are going to the extent of having to prostitute themselves so that they can make money to be able to purchase drugs. Now, that made me curious about that in terms of the girl child in Zimbabwe. So I want to hear that from you. How prevalent or how serious is the discussion of drug usage when we're focusing on Zimbabwe's girl child?
So thank you so much, my dear brother. The anecdotal evidence on the ground, it points out that a lot of our girl sisters, they've been affected by illicit drug use in Zimbabwe. So it's also an area of concern and also an area which is subject to official studies. But the anecdotal evidence on the ground, it actually points out that no, illicit drug use is actually being used by the girl child or being used on the girl child, by these other cunning youngsters so that they take advantage of the girl child. It's also a cause for concern.
All right, Zulugandaba says unfortunately, we just lost Umtandazo, but we're about to wrap up our conversation. The last question I had for Umtandazo was, how can people get a hold of him? But because he's not on the line, I'll go ahead and give you his details. For those that are looking to seek assistance from Umtandazo Ndlovu, who is a health expert, predominantly focusing on the drug usage in Zimbabwe. His number is +263 772 399 734. Ngiyaphinda njalo, +263 772 399 734. That's the best way to get a hold of Umtandazo. He'll be able to help you. Mr. Box, Sejo Muchilipo Pachirongwa, I guess you get the last words.
Thank you so much. As Zimbabwe Civil Liberties and Drug Network, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, we've actually come up with the Zimbabwe Drug Master Plan. It actually gives strategies and ways on how best people who use drugs can be assisted. So as an organization, we do refer all those with problematic drug use challenges to specialists who are in Zimbabwe. They can also get us on our website, which is www.zcldnzim.org.zw, or you can always give them our number so that they can actually get in touch with us, and we can always help all those with drug use challenges. Thank you.
Shout out to Mr. Wilson Box kanye lo mthandazo Ndlovu ngokungena kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo. Muri Zimbabwe kwanele kwalamhla thashika kumagumo ethu ngwathelu janasi ngathi sangani same time same place phana Vaccinated Studio 7. I go by the name of Mike Hove at Mike Hove _ is my Twitter and Instagram username. So for those that are looking to join us, we're Vaccinated Studio 7 ngathi kurukure pa social media pa Twitter and pa Instagram. Anokoneka ine mfaro ndino wenyu Mike Hove thakaza mohle Zimbabwe mohle. Let's meet same time same place next week phano Vaccinated Studio 7.